Andy Warhol embraced boredom. You can tell by the boring films he made or the references he made in the philosophy of Andy Warhol about getting bored. Whenever I hit a creative wall, I just do nothing. Literally, nothing. Try it sometime. It's a great strategy. Maybe you come up with the next best thing in your industry. It's never a good time to take a break. I just need to finish this project. My boss will never accept it. People will think I'm lazy. I don't have time. Money never sleeps. Yeah, I've been there too. But what would you rather? Continue to work without resting and burn out? Or take some rest before you're tired? Yep, life is long, so play the long game. On that note, I might not be tired yet, but it's time for me to take a break. So I will see you again when I come back on August 1st with a new article. Until then, take it easy, because I definitely will. P.S. Like Jesus, I never look forward to go on a holiday. People will, if you're in the same position, have a staycation. The above tips still apply. Eliminate mindless browsing. We all have days we feel unproductive or that we did not do anything. When you feel you are not productive, the chances are that it is because interruptions and multitasking drain your energy. When you juggle multiple things simultaneously, like sending an email, text a friend and checking your Facebook while you are in a meeting, you engage in context switching. In a research done by Gloria Mark of the University of California, Irvine, it showed that it takes an average of 25 minutes to return to the original task after an interruption. Since we are interrupted more than once, this adds up quickly, and before you know it, you feel like you have done nothing that day. Clifford Nass, a sociologist from Stanford University, has researched the impact of multitasking and found that people who engage in multitasking are suckers for irrelevancy. We engage in multitasking because we are distracted by notifications, which are addictive. We cannot control ourselves. We must look at the notification to see who or what wants our attention. Every time a notification pops up on our screen, we get a rush that releases dopamine. Dopamine is one of the body's happy chemicals. It controls the pleasure systems of the brain and makes you feel joy. This joyous feeling is addictive and makes us seek out behaviors that stimulate dopamine. You can think about food, sex, drugs, and the notifications you receive on your screen. While dopamine may cause a rush, it also exhausts us. That is why you still feel tired at the end of the day while you have not been productive. This is a harmful process, and we need to stop this pattern. The fix: eliminate browsing. Being productive can be as simple as taking control over your day. What harms your productivity the most is browsing. It absolutely kills it. We've all experienced a distortion in time when we are browsing. What? I just did nothing for 2 hours. Yes, we even do this at work. Take control of your attention and time. The point is, do something that's worth your time. Be conscious about your time. And spend so it improves the quality of your life. 20 things that will make you more productive than ever. The last 3 years have been huge for me. I've got more things done than ever, moved countries, bought an apartment in a small office building, spent loads of time with my family and friends, kept a healthy lifestyle, and exercised at least 4 times a week. Many variables determine your overall productivity. Tools, apps, or hacks don't work if you lack the right mindset because productivity is a way of living. It's about achieving maximum output, getting shit done, and not wasting time. I think that output and happiness go hand in hand. To me, doing nothing equals misery. I want to share 20 things I've done in the past 3 years that have made me more productive than ever, in no particular order. 1. Always cut to the chase. With everything in life, there's a bunch of crap, and there's stuff that matters. Chit chat, small talk, delaying, waiting around, not speaking up, is all useless. If you want to get shit done, you have to jump straight into the action. 2. Record all your thoughts and ideas. Similar to computers, we have a random access memory, RAM. Your human RAM stores relevant short-term information. But your RAM capacity is limited. When it's full, older information that you have stored will be deleted to make room for new information. You want to write down your thoughts to unload your RAM, which gives you more brain power. Even if you never take a look at that note again, it's still worth it. 3. Say no. When it comes to work, I say no to everything that doesn't support my goals and values. We live in an abundant world, there are always enough opportunities. In my personal life, I say no to everything that doesn't thrill me. When I think math about something, I always say no. That eliminates wasting time on shit that I'm not excited about. 4. Take a 5-minute break every 30 to 45 minutes. You can stretch your back, walk around, drink some water. But more importantly, you take your nose out of your work. When you come back to your desk, you might have new ideas. Or, you might think, what am I doing? And stop it before you waste all your time. 5. Eliminate everything that distracts you. Willpower is overrated. If something distracts you, eliminate it. One of my friends has a news addiction. I suggested to get rid of his TV, delete his news apps, and block the news sites on his laptop. 2 weeks later, he told me that he's finally starting a business. Don't think you're immune to your distractions. Remove them. 6. Keep away clutter. A cluttered life means a cluttered brain. And with a cluttered brain, you can't get stuff done. I prefer a simple work and living environment. A desk, a laptop, and a notebook. Keep it simple. You don't need any fluff. 7. Focus on one thing some days. If you have recurring tasks, try to do as much of the same thing on one day. I write 2 to 3 blog posts on one day, the other days of the week I use for my other projects and businesses. On my writing days, I turn off my phone and just write. Nothing else gets in the way. 8. Stop consuming so much information. You don't need to read 5,000 articles on productivity. If you find useful information, try it. Don't search for more. More is not always better. You can only process so much of it. Stop consuming, start creating. 9. Create routines. Decisions fatigue your brain. And routines eliminate decisions. Which ultimately means more brain power. Routines are not OCD, they are efficient. Use them. 10. Don't multitask. When you juggle multiple things simultaneously, like sending an email, texting a friend and checking your Facebook while you are in a meeting, you engage in context switching. In a research done by Gloria Mark of the University of California, Irvine, it showed that it takes an average of 25 minutes to return to the original task after an interruption. That's a waste of useful time. 11. Check email twice a day. Every time you check your email, you get a rush of dopamine. I get it, checking email feels nice, and most of us are addicted. While dopamine may cause a rush, it also exhausts you. That is why you still feel tired at the end of the day while you have not been productive. To minimize that, turn off notifications, and check your email only twice a day on set times. 12. No smartphone during the first hour of your day. A smartphone's primary function is to interrupt you. But don't let other people or apps interrupt you during the first hour of your day. Take that first hour to think about the day ahead of you, read a book, enjoy your breakfast, coffee, or tea. 13. Plan the next day. Every night before I go to bed, I take 5 minutes to set my priorities, usually 3 to 4, for the next day. That makes me more focused when I wake up. I find that I waste time if I don't do this practice. It's cool to go with the flow. The only problem is, I don't want to be a dog that mindlessly chases cars. 14. Keep thinking to a minimum. When people say, I'm thinking, they mean worrying by thinking. Don't think too much. Just do, and see what happens. If you like what you're seeing, continue. If not, do something else. 15. Exercise. A few things are vital in life: food, water, shelter, relationships, and exercise. Without this stuff, you can't function properly. Scientific research shows that regular exercise can make you happier, smarter, and more energetic. 16. Laugh a little. Laughing reduces stress. And if you want to keep up your productivity, you don't want stress. So move the corners of your mouth upward as much as you can. 17. Don't go to meetings. This is a tough one for people who work for corporations. Some companies have a meeting culture. People organize meetings just to look important or procrastinate real work. For goodness sake, please stop. 18. Is that really necessary? Ask yourself that question as often as you can. You will find that your answer is often no. So why do unnecessary things? 19. If you're having a shitty day, press reset. You might screw, maybe someone gets angry with you, shit happens. Don't get down about it. Take some time alone, meditate, listen to music, or go for a walk. Try to get back on track. Don't let your day go to waste. 20. Do the work. Yes, talking about work is easier than doing it. Everyone can do it. But you're not everyone, right? You're a productivity beast. So act like one. Without these 20 things, I wouldn't be productive at all. You may have noticed that I don't get into details, like which tools and apps I use. I don't think that stuff matters. It's about creating a productivity mindset and environment that lets you thrive. I only care about getting things done in a fun and not stressful way. That makes doing work way more fun and rewarding. Here's why time off work actually improves your work and life. What do you do when you feel tired or overwhelmed? Do you power through? Or do you take some time off? In the past, I thought that you should always power through, no matter what. Now, I still think that way when it comes to life in general. You can't quit taking care of yourself and your family. A sense of responsibility is one of the most powerful motivators in life. But I'm not talking about a lack of motivation here. I'm talking about taking time off work. But there's still a massive taboo on taking time off. Some people think it's for losers. Others think it's about escaping your work. After all, if you love your work and life, why do you even need a break? Good point, smart ass. Here's why time off actually improves your work and life. Leonard Mlodinow, a physicist, who also co-authored 2 books with Stephen Hawking, recently shared scientific research in his book Elastic about taking time off. He demonstrates that taking time off work improves our well-being. Though some may consider doing nothing unproductive, a lack of downtime is bad for our well-being, because idle time allows our default network to make sense of what we've recently experienced or learned. People who never take time off to do nothing are short-term focused. I want to reach my goals now. But as always, short-term thinking harms your long-term development and growth. What happens when you power through work and burn yourself out? In most instances, your results suffer, and you become less productive. In some cases, you even become depressed, which will set you back even longer. Prevent rather than cure. It's one of the biggest cliches in the book. But how often do we really prevent things? Instead, we put our head down and deal with it later. Bad strategy. Instead, it's much better to prevent burnout or a decrease in your overall work performance. Dale Carnegie, a self-help pioneer, and author of How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, said it best. So, to prevent fatigue and worry, the first rule is, rest often. Rest before you get tired. So take time off work strategically throughout the year. That's what I just did too, and I experienced 5 benefits as a consequence. 1. You can check whether you did the right things at work. I know 2 modes. 1. Execution. 2. Thinking when you are in execution mode, you can work for hours, days, or months in a row. In fact, I know people who've been in execution mode for years. They never took time off to reflect or think about their work. Result? A midlife crisis. Or, young folks who experience a quarter-life crisis. That's what you get when you put your head down and execute without thinking. You might get results. But are those results what you want? When you take time off work, you have more inner conversations. But when you execute, you don't. That's one of the most important benefits of doing nothing. Sure, you might fall behind on work. But who cares? Would you rather go through your career with tunnel vision? I need at least 10 days off to reflect seriously. For the first 5 days, I'm still somewhere between execution and thinking mode. It's hard to switch to thinking and doing nothing if you're used to doing work. But I always learn new things about myself after a more extended break. I tend to read a lot. Over the past 2 weeks, I've read 5 books. But I didn't write at all. Also, I journal very little. Just some reading, watching movies, documentaries, hanging out with friends, talking, daydreaming. That kind of stuff. Neither does it cost much. But the return is enormous. Now, I feel better, have more energy, and I'm excited to get back to work. That's also the next lesson I learned. 2. You get to process your ideas. Your brain does a lot of things you're not aware of. One thing that happens unconsciously is the processing of ideas by our brain. We've all had ideas that never materialized, right? How many people have you met who claim to have had the idea for Facebook, Instagram, or any other type of new thing? I once met a guy who claimed to have come up with the idea of making e-bikes. Did he do something with it? No. He now buys garbage on Alibaba and sells it to businesses, door to door. We all have ideas. Not only business ideas. I want to redecorate the house. I want to drive from NYC to LA. I want to write a book. All those ideas are great. But what are you going to do with them? I'm not even talking about execution. All ideas require processing. Are the ideas any good? Do I really want to do those things? Again, that's a thinking process. When you go from idea to execution, without processing, you often waste your time in hindsight. Of course, you can never entirely prevent that. But by taking the time to process your ideas, you can prevent your future self a lot of pain, worry, and even money. 3. You can consume more art. What is art? Anything that makes you think. A good song, movie, painting, book, poem, article, picture, sculpture, you name it. Anything can be art. There's no authority that declares what art is and what is not. I get a lot of my inspiration from art. I can't imagine what life would be without it. Well, there is art on that too. Just read Fahrenheit 451 or watch the movie Equilibrium. The best thing about art is that it improves your mood. And when you're in a good mood, you're happier. Just don't consume useless junk. Start with the classics. Listen to Bob Dylan, Marvin Gaye, Whitney Houston. Watch movies by Alfred Hitchcock, Francis Ford Coppola. Read Ernest Hemingway, Harper Lee, Ralph Ellison. Go to the British Museum. Study Andy Warhol. Like millions of other people, you'll be inspired by their work. And that will enrich your life. 4. You can focus on other important things that are not work related. Can you tell me more about yourself? What do you think of when I ask you that question? Most of us start by saying something like, I'm an accountant at Company X. Modern day life almost forces you to identify yourself with work. But you are not your job. You are your family, friends, hobbies, passion, and then finally, you also have a job. And yes, work is important. But so are the other things. So never neglect the other important things in your life. Cultivate the relationships you have with your family and close friends. Do things together. Go on a family holiday. Go mountain biking with your friends. Show some initiative. If no one in your family or group of friends takes action, why aren't you? By investing time in your relationships, you form group memories. That will only strengthen your relationships. But also focus on yourself. What are your hobbies? What's something you want to learn more about? What did you dream of doing? Do those things. 5. Resting gets boring. Quick. There's a reason humans work. We're built to make things. I believe that the purpose of life is to be useful. Making yourself useful ultimately leads to a meaningful life that satisfies all your human needs. That's why too much rest will make us restless. My mother always told me that too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing. She told me that when I wanted to hang out with my friends all the time and when I had my first girlfriend. It's true. Too much rest, like work, is not good. Our bodies and minds are made to use. Hence, the final lesson I learned from doing nothing is this: after rest comes work. And what comes after work? If you answered more work, you didn't get the point.
Resto
You
off.
probably need some rest. Time block. Improve your focus and get more meaningful work done. Do you have a list of